What ifs are some of the biggest questions in gaming that we can possibly have. For example, let's take a look at the Bioshock series as a whole. For Bioshock 1, what if they actually kept the Rapture Zoo? What if they had a big enough budget to give each respective character their own character model besides Andrew Ryan, besides Sander Cohen, and besides Frank Fontaine? In Bioshock Infinite, what if we actually got the finished product that was shown within the E3 2011 trailer in the finalized version of the game? What if the multiplayer aspect would have remained within Bioshock Infinite? These questions could have changed how we view the games to this day, but alas, they are only what ifs. Well, today we're going to be focusing more on Bioshock Infinite and these what ifs. More specifically, there's two what ifs. And it's going to be, what if these two characters were actually in the game besides being a cut piece of content or a removed idea? So without any further delay, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the what ifs of Bioshock Infinite. Now, the first what if of this video is based on the Mad Toy Maker. So, what if the Mad Toy Maker was in the finished product? What if the Mad Toy Maker's toys were in the finished product? And what if the Mad Toy Maker's shop were in the finished product of Bioshock Infinite? Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. You and I both know that. However, the concept art for this character's area is phenomenal. Unfortunately, we don't have concept art of the Mad Toy Maker himself. However, we do have concept art of the Mad Toy Maker's shop, which I'll put on the screen now. This area in particular looks like it would be an arena for a boss fight, or potentially having to stealthily sneak around the Mad Toy Maker's toys. And just from the concept art alone, I'm already in love with the idea, and I wish it would have been implemented into the final game. Now, the Mad Toy Maker's toys, there were quite a few of them. I'll put two on the screen now so you can get a general idea of what these would have been. Essentially, these were almost like Columbia's versions of Big Daddies before they finalized on Songbird. And we'll talk about Songbird here in a little bit. So there were quite a few different toys, in quotes, that the Mad Toy Maker actually made. And those would have been a rabbit wearing a magician's hat, which you can see on the screen, an automaton watchman, again, which you can see on screen, an owl in a red night-themed outfit. That one I have to find the concept art for. An elephant, which is almost similar to the Slow Pro from Bioshock 1, if you remember the DLC where you can walk into the museum. And then also a moth, equivalent to Mothman, if you're familiar with the tales and the quote-unquote cryptid that was seen, I believe, in 1967. So, again, it was just all concept ideas that I wish would have been in the final game. And I'm going to ask the question, what if these particular concepts were actually inserted within Bioshock Infinite? Do you guys think it would have added for more combat styles? Do you think it would have been good for the game? Let me know down in the comment section below. So the reason I actually bring up the Mad Toy Maker, the Mad Toy Maker's shop, and his toys is because I believe that this would have and was supposed to be a sort of sub-boss fight, kind of like the Handymen were. However, this would have been a much different experience because they would have had their own level specifically for the Mad Toy Maker. So, what could have been? I would have loved to have fought the Mad Toy Maker. I would have loved to fight the Mad Toy Maker's toys. And I would have just liked to explore the Mad Toy Maker's shop. Again, as I mentioned, the concept art for the level itself and the concept art for the Mad Toy Maker's toys, they had me hooked as soon as I saw them. And I just wish that these items would have been in the finalized version of Bioshock Infinite, as well as what they showcased within the E3 2011 trailer. But we can't always get what we want. Now, the second what if is something that a lot of people often think about when thinking about Songbird. And there's two what ifs. What if you could actually engage in combat with Songbird? And what if Songbird were the final boss of Bioshock Infinite, besides holding your own on Comstock's airship at the end, just fighting off waves after waves after waves of enemies? That would have been very interesting in my opinion. I would have loved to have seen how we the player could have fared against Songbird, especially with how quick Songbird is, with how strong Songbird is, and I just can't imagine what type of weapons and what type of vigors we would have to use in order to just take Songbird down. It seems almost impossible, which I can understand now why they chose to not have Songbird as a boss fight. However, I believe they did want at one point in time for Songbird to be the final boss of the game. Back in 2010 and 2011 as well, we got demos and debuts of Bioshock Infinite. Obviously, one of the scenes which did end up making the final game is when they're hiding from Songbird as Songbird is peering through a window. And before Songbird was a concrete character set in stone, it was akin to the Big Daddy. For example, if the eye of Songbird turned red while looking around, same thing with the Big Daddy, that meant it was hostile and it was looking to fight whoever it was looking at or looking for. If the eye turned yellow, that meant that it was aware of somebody's presence, however, it wouldn't attack, just like a Big Daddy. And if the eye of Songbird was green, you were in the clear, there was no sort of damage or sort of danger to be in, just like the Big Daddy. So it definitely would have been interesting if we were able to combat Songbird, and I think it would have changed the whole dynamic of the ending of Bioshock Infinite if we were to actually face off against Songbird. Well, here's my opinion on the whole matter. If I had the choice, and thankfully I'm not one of the developers, so I don't have to make the tough decisions like this, I would have kept Songbird in as the main boss. This would have changed the whole dynamic, and I believe it would have changed the whole story going throughout Bioshock Infinite. Obviously, you as Booker and Elizabeth hide from Songbird every chance you get because you don't want to make eye contact with Songbird, and vice versa. You don't want Songbird making eye contact with you. So you spend the whole story and the whole duration of Bioshock Infinite avoiding Songbird at all costs. This builds up tension and suspense, and then ultimately, at the end, there's nowhere for you to run, there's nowhere for you to hide, and you have to face Songbird and beat him to beat the game. I think this would have provided a very fitting end to Bioshock Infinite, as well as basically going balls out and going all out for that final boss area. In my opinion, in my honest and humble opinion, I think that would have been much better than kind of a horde mode at the end. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Well, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else watching, let me know what you think. Do you think the Mad Toy Maker, the Mad Toy Maker's shop, and the Mad Toy Maker's toys should have been in the finalized product of Bioshock Infinite? And also, do you think Songbird should have been the main and final boss of Infinite? Please, if you want to, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, like the video, and ring the bell to turn on all post notifications to never miss a future video or a future live stream here on the channel. If you want to stay up to date with me outside of YouTube, my social medias are the best ways to do so, the links to which will be down in the description below. And if you'd love to join the community of fellow Bioshock fans, join our Discord server. I'll put that in the pinned comments at the top of the comment section. With that being said, thank you all so very much for watching today's video. Take care, stay safe, and I will talk to you all in the next one.